Chat, we're going to keep playing 4X Restoration Angel decks until I have one that I can be content with. So today, we are trying out some Deadguy Ale, black-white, mid-range, black-white tempo, whatever you want to call it. We've got Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, Skyclave Apparition, Spellbinder, and some Gonti here that all blink for value. And this is just like a decent mid-range threat. It's a creature that flashes in to block reasonably against aggro, and is also an evasive threat to push damage. We've got a little bit of discard spells, the Knight of the Ebon Legions at the bottom end of the curve. And then we've got a plethora of creature lands in our 26 land mid-range deck, so we can beat people down when we inevitably flood out. So let's go ahead and dive on into some matches with this one and see how it goes today. My children are probably, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years at least away from being able to watch my stuff with the amount of casual swearing that I do. My opponent's ranked super highly, so I'm going to keep this hand because it has a Thalia, because they're likely playing Jeskai if they're ranked highly. I would encourage you to go watch the video I posted last night that's literally Bant Flash with Resto and Frilled Mystics. YouTube's great. Hey chat, remember when I said they were rated highly so they're playing Jeskai? And then they're playing Jeskai? Am I playing the Open on the 11th? What format is the Open? Historic? I'm gonna give you a solid maybe. Alright, I mean, these technically answer the things they floop into play, right? So should we do that? Seems reasonable. It's enough threats, 22 creatures, it's probably fine. If I'm being completely honest, playing a competitively focused historic tournament in this current environment does not sound fun. I don't really feel like playing the Jeskai decks, and the Jeskai decks are much better than most things. Morning silence. Could you dono for Jeskai Hollowed One? Yeah, definitely. In. Oh, they're the Sage of the Falls variation. Okay. So Vanishing Verse and Despark are still good here, though, right? our hand apart. Couldn't have happened to a nicer opponent. Listen, chat, they're the bad guy. Hey, Cena Tizen, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Attempt the draw step, Spellbinder. Okay, so they can technically still put their god into play here, right? This not being Despark is brutal. We honestly might just lose the Lotus God here. Need to draw one of our 2 Desparks sooner rather than later. Oh, I should have shocked that in to get an Ebon Legion counter. Punted. Yeah, I actually just can't beat the Lotus God. Doing its thing every turn, huh? I mean, like, for the record, like, I hate comments like that in general. Like, Jeff, would you play the current deck but 20 cards different? 20's a lot. That's 14 cards different actually. So like, as always, if you'd like to submit something, you can use the form on my site here, but like in general, people way too often draw comparisons between things they should not draw comparisons between. Like if you're 14 cards different, you know, think the average, what's it called? The average case, hey, thanks for the bitty sleeping pill. Okay, so Doomblade's actually great here, better than Vanishing Verse, I think. You know, think about how many spells the average deck has, for example. So, like, this deck has 34 spells in it. So 14 spells different is almost 50% of your spells different. Where do I live? I live in Bloomington Normal in central Illinois. My backyard is a cornfield. Well, it rotates between corn and soybeans every other year. If you're unfamiliar with the area, it's a medium-sized city surrounded by farmland. I think we have like a population of like 100,000 or so. So it's an okay-sized city that just like also happens to have a lot of spacious surrounding area. I think the archetype is viable. I would, in general, discourage you from trying to say if things are viable or not that you haven't played. In general, I'll shy away from that too, so. So I think I do this, and then next turn we can go Inquisition into Thalia. Although, now that they've played a tapped land here, I think we Spellbinder, because they can't cycle the Shark Typhoon in response, and Spellbindering Shark Typhoon basically makes it so it's gone. Because, like, they can play it as an 8-mana enchantment, but the game's hopefully over before then. Wow, they didn't top deck Anger of the Gods? It's a good beat. It's a sick beat. Start working our way through these creativities. Memory lapse. Or I could take the memory lapse. Hey, just got a Fade and Anger of the Gods here. Near Chicago. I mean, near Chicago. I'm, it's like a 2.5 hour drive from my driveway to Chicago. I think I'm supposed to play this to play around a piece of spot removal or a blocker. Nick the Machine. Thanks for the follow. Good morning. So you're dead. Good shit. Morning, Vernus. Yay, disruptive poop bears. Our mediocre creatures are so disruptive, chat. It's funny how things like that are relative, Logan. Like, if you ask someone from Chicago, they'll tell you I live in Southern Illinois, but really I'm right in the middle of Illinois. Illinois is a very tall state. I think it's like 10 hours to drive top to bottom. Yeah, this is fine. Jund. I'd like to discard this redundant key for the dragon. People who say they live in New York City when they live in New Jersey should be a crime. That's sad to lose Gonti there. This card's so good in these mid-range matchups. You recently drove through Illinois and it was 9 hours top to bottom. Yeah. So I can't pump this, unfortunately, because if I pump it, it means their Chandra can kill it next turn. That sounds right. I think that's near Springfield, when Megas. And Springfield's about an hour from me. I like where I live in terms of location and weather for the most part. You don't really get earthquakes or tsunamis or hurricanes. We get tornadoes sometimes, but they're fairly rare.
You and I are gonna take them out.
Honey.
Time to die.
That's why we didn't use it on your turn, opponent.
Guess you don't need me anymore.
Time to die. It was in fact time for something to die. Yeah, I guess they could just be filling the graveyard for Kroxa. I mean, this does let them escape the Kroxa. Yeah, states in the United States are very comparable to countries in Europe. I'm gonna attack with both of these because we'll get counters on these when they take 4. I get a little bit punished with this line if they have a way to kill this, but I'm just hoping they won't. I mean, to be fair, they don't really want this to be a 3/3, right? Because then my Restoration Angel will just eat it in combat. That's when Dragon Rage Chandler gets souped up, it has to attack. Goodbye, friend. They left a card on top, so like must be a good one. Otherwise they would have been to help escape Kroxa. It's a pretty good one. Alright, scale of 1 to dead. Where are we at with this Restoration Angel? Dead side of the scale. Got it. Alright, chat. Fair deck mirror match. Cut your discard spells. Bring in your cards that play to the board. Don't get caught with don't get caught with a bunch of mediocre cards that don't play to the board. So Fatal Push is pretty good. Actually don't have a lot of ways to kill Kroxa, like both Despark and Vanishing Verse miss it. I have Skyclave, I suppose. Do I want a Doomblade or a Cast Down for my last card? I guess I could play a Despark or a Vanishing Verse still. Vanishing Verse tags Darcy as well as Chandra. Maybe we just put Verse in. We have a few monocolored things. Let's try this. You'll note, people that have followed my piles of Deadguy Ale decks that we've played over the course of Historic, you'll note that I've switched from Baneslayer to Lyra in my sideboard for my big angel, and the reason for that is with 4 actual angels in my main deck, the odds of Lyra's upside giving something lifelink in 1/1 is relatively reasonable now. Phoenix has also become a bit less popular, so your protection from dragons isn't as relevant as it once was. With the 4 restos, Lyra's flavor text becomes a lot more than flavor text on average, I think. I haven't seen new people ask about it or the command get used. So for people that have been here since the start, has the microphone stopped doing the random distortion thing? Or is it still doing it sporadically and people just haven't commented? No, it's still doing it? Nope. Okay. Got it. Still sporadic. Yikes. Well, if we can live to get to these, we're going to be in a good spot. Are Chandler / Kroxa actually good together, or are they more of a non-bow? So they're... Kroxa and Dragon Rage Chandler is just an example of you should play individually good cards, even if they have a little bit of anti-synergy. So yeah, obviously escaping Kroxa isn't great with Dragon Rage Chandler, but also they're just like two cards that are individually good. So like I wouldn't shy away from playing them. Okay, yeah, there's nothing I can do, but I was just wondering because people hadn't commented on it. But I believe you that it's still there. So we're dead to a removal spell here. That's true too. They do have a little bit of synergy because Chandler helps you bin Kroxa, is accurate. This is basically a nut draw for our opponent there. Had triple Darcy discard spell, removal spell. So it wasn't even just that they had all the threats, right? Like they had all the threats and they also stripped me from my interaction. A la blocking. You know what I wonder? If I turn this off, I'm gonna toggle a setting. Ooh, let me toggle. All right, I've got two settings actually I can toggle that might be on the microphone. This microphone has both a clip guard and a low cut filter. I'm gonna try and turn those off. So I toggled a couple of settings there. So from this point forward, let me know if it happens again. It probably will, because those probably aren't the issue, but those are the last knobs I have to twist short of like nuking everything from orbit and starting over. I'm just gonna go ahead and Skyclave aggressively here. They can technically upgrade this to a 3/3 now if they block it, but like it stops them from getting tokens with it later, which is nice. It's also a 2/2, so if they don't kill my thing, they get I get to block their tokens. Missing land drops in my my 26 land deck. Feels magic, man. I'm just passing here as opposed to playing Glint-Sleeve Siphoner because Kroxa... Yeah, we're dead.
Hey, over here.
There's not a whole lot we could do there. Opponent had discard spells, we didn't have land drops. The board your discard spells out plan doesn't work out if you don't have mana to play your spells, because the idea is you get into a top deck mode and you want more live top decks, but your hand is just vulnerable to get picked apart all the way through like the 5th and 6th turn of the game. They get a lot more value out of their discard spells. I don't know. It might be time to shelve Deadguy Ale and delete it off the website. The last couple times we've played it, it's felt really mediocre. This format's become very hostile to mid-range decks, so. Has not felt particularly good the last couple of times. Which I've talked about, you know, wanting to find a deck for this card. There's a good chance there just isn't a good card deck for this card as long as the format's super hostile to mid-range decks. It crackled again. Alright, thanks. I'll turn the clip guard back on then. Like I said, I didn't think those settings were what was causing it. I'm pretty sure it's OBS. That seems to be the case. I don't think I'm supposed to Inquisition them and give them a card, so we're just gonna play a tap land and pass. Yeah, I'm just gonna set up a Linux partition again this evening. Windows has just been giving me endless issues. I can't use the sleep function. I have random lag in OBS on occasion. Now we're getting random bits of distortion. It's quite the rank difference. It's really not quite the rank difference. It's like 2 matches worth of rank difference. So if you're not familiar with, oh, and now they still just get to draw cards, right? Are we just like super dead again? I think we're just like super dead again. Guess we'll take a peek at what's in their hand. Is Windows 11 supposed to be releasing next month? Yikes. Okay, so discard spells are bad here as well. We'll board in a bunch of spot removal. Discard spells are mostly for combo and control. I think I'd rather have Spellbinder than Thalia here. Honestly, I think I'd rather have like 1 Inquisition than a 1 of Thalia. So I'll have 24 creatures. Yeah, seems fine. Hey, maybe I want both of these. We trim a 3-drop. And bringing in other high curve things. Nerfs to control would be a primary start. It's just so difficult to build a deck that can keep up with control decks while also just like not being a dog to other things. Alright, so this curves nicely here. We get to do this and pay the 1 now. So we'll take their Vault Scourge. And then with the Skyclave Apparition here, even if they play this, they're not going to get to draw a card off of this because this isn't a non-creature, which is great. Just get a clean 2-for-1 here. Seems to match you closer. Yeah, Hearthstone has a lot more people playing than Magic Arena does. Especially when you consider per cube. Like Hearthstone's ranked, Hearthstone's ranked literally only has 2 options, right? It has Wild and it has, Standard. There isn't like a best of 3 option or anything else like that. I actually have some fun stats, so I chat with people that work on what's it called? untapped. Sorry, I was struggling to find words this morning that work on untapped. Take a removal spell. And they sent me some stats, and for August, for example, Magic Arena averaged a little over 4,000 matches per day of traditional historic played on the ladder total. And that's all ranks. Yes, it's not. So like that's I guess to be fair, that's just people that are using their tracker. That's people using their tracker. So probably I'd be surprised if they capture 10 to 15% of the total game, so probably somewhere in the range of 40 to 50,000 per day. Yeah, I think even 10% might be high, but around there. But one of the things you can see, for example, are ratios. So, for example, what I mean by a ratio is in comparison to how much less popular Best of 3 is compared to other queue offerings. I think this is good enough. It just needs a white source. So, Best of 1 historic, they recorded almost 14,000 matches per day. So the Best of 3 queue was less popular by a factor of almost 3, or more than 3. And then for further comparison, the standard 22 queue, they logged 17,000 games per day. Where's the normal standard? Take that one. Goodbye. You have to remember, if you are someone that prefers Best of 3 to Best of 1, you are deterministically a Magic boomer. Beef Travoli, thank you for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Doesn't really matter what we take here. This isn't really blocking, so they want to trade. I think that's fine. Otherwise, it gets to draw a card. I think I'd rather kill the Sentinel so I can cast my non-creature spells. Trade early and often here, I think. Das a good one. So 14 months Apollo. Let me finish this game, Apollo, and I'll give you something clippable that we can link about the stuff going on Twitch today. So they get to draw a card from this, but it still cleans the board out. That is exactly right, Clown Hairs. Okay, so we do this, get rid of the Ginger Brute, and then we do this. Why the heck does Antelope clear the board? I just casted Crippling Fear. This Resto is excited to eat a Blinkmoth Nexus here. Get to blink this and get an energy. I'm just gonna take this hit, hold on to the Fatal Push for now, I think. Hey, Forget, thanks for the 20 months, welcome back. So, post-board games here, we have more removal spells in our decks and can mulligan appropriately. Much easier than not. Plague Boths are probably crunchy. Yeah, I'd wager that's the case. Alright, so you can only clip like a minute. So what's a short, concise way? I might talk here for more than a minute. So, for people that aren't super plugged into Twitch, Twitch has been having an issue with what are called, For people that aren't super plugged into Twitch, Twitch has been having an issue with what people are referring to as hate raids, where a bunch of bot accounts managed by an awful individual all raid into a streamer's chat and post hateful, obnoxious things and derogatory comments, generally targeted at people who are LGBTQIA or people who are minorities or other things like that. It's really obnoxious and it's a problem. And spam like that on Twitch has been a problem since before today. Like before my chat was sub only, I regularly had people spamming not hateful things because I'm a straight white dude that you know, I'm very privileged, I'm aware, but just spam things, right? So these platforms have always had issues with spam, and now that issue with spam has been weaponized into targeted harassment towards people, which is awful. So today, what a bunch of people are doing that, in my opinion, is inefficient and not a good way to approach this, is a bunch of people decided to take today off in protest of Twitch not communicating or generating better tools to deal with these things. So I think taking the day off of streaming on Twitch is ineffective and not a useful way to drive change, because Twitch is a large platform where most people, if they're going to sign on to watch Twitch, they're just going to see the normal person they don't watch isn't on, and they're going to go watch someone else instead. So me sitting here talking about the issue and me messaging my Twitch rep, which is something that I've done and asked about the issue, is more useful than just not showing up, in my opinion. People have organized boycotts like this before, and maybe on a smaller platform that would be meaningful, but there's always going to be someone else online on Twitch. And I think if people really wanted to organize and do something useful, all of them going live and talking about the issue, or playing a YouTube video on loop that talks about the issue, or having a screen with music up that talks about the issue, like all of that would be more useful. Yeah, boycotts need to be disruptive to be effective, and the cold, blunt truth is Twitch is too big of a platform for it to be effective. So I am not participating in the Twitch day off / strike today that people tried to organize, because I don't think it's an efficient use to drive the change that they want to see. The changes that group is asking for are very reasonable. They want better tools from Twitch to deal with these raids, and they want better communication from Twitch. And that's one thing most of these big companies suck at, including Twitch, is Twitch needs to communicate better, right? Like, I would be incredibly surprised. If Twitch wasn't already working on tools to make these things better. But what they're not doing is communicating that those tools are being worked on, right? To the person I just timed out, fuck off into the sun. Like, I notice you're not doing any of those things you just talked about, Jeff. What the fuck am I doing right now? I am literally sitting here losing viewers talking about the issue here right now in front of you, Twitch chat. Fuck, Twitch chat. Like, come on. Also, like, this is my job, right? So, like, yeah, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna actively talk about it here for a minute, but I'm not gonna sit here and turn my stream off for the whole day to address it, because guess what? That's like people saying, Jeff, you shouldn't go into work for the day. You should skip earning income and taking care of your family for the day if you actually care about this. Fuck you. That's a privileged position. It's like when people talk about, to talk about other issues, like when people are like, well, it's like when there are issues at Blizzard or Riot or Wizards as a company. If the people that worked there really cared, they'd quit their job. And it's like, no, they shouldn't quit their job if there's issues at their company. They're not guaranteed to have income somewhere else, and they have families to take care of. They need to feed themselves and house themselves. Like, just because you still work there, or like, haha, you think we should improve society, yet you participate. I am very smart. Like, yeah, like, thank you for the sub gifts, Patrick. I really appreciate the support. And thanks for the 17 months, Chiller. So like I said, that was much longer than a minute. You probably can't clip all of that. Feel free to clip some of it and we can link it, but yeah. It's definitely a problem. I've talked to my Twitch rep about the problem, and they are working on communication. I passed along my feedback that they are not quick enough with that communication. And I talk about things like this here on stream, but that's really all I can do, chat. I'm a small fish in a very big pond. Torpid Ninja, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Like, it's important to remember too that, like, I'm a big Magic streamer, but like you look at Inhumane Rabbit, it did. Thank you for the tier 3. Sorry, I was mid-rant. Thank you for the 22 months. Like, I'm a big Magic streamer, but in like the grand scheme of Twitch things, like I'm a mid-sized streamer at best, right? Like, the 1,200 people that we have here right now, I appreciate all y'all, and please don't go anywhere, but like, we're a blip compared to someone like Carnage, who has like 16,000 people watching him on average. What do you think of something like a union to organize streamers? It's just not practical. The platform is too large and too unwieldy. Ooh, this matchup's probably bad. I'm older than you, but when I grow up, I want to be just like you. I try. God bless. So, I do think this matchup's incredibly difficult for us for today, but I also think that if we can win this matchup, the flying creatures are key. So having Resto and Elite Spellbinder here actually puts us in one of our potentially better spots, but we're likely still awful. Yeah, in fact, this matchup is the reason there is a... Crippling Fear in my sideboard. Or two Crippling Fears. Crippling Fear's a... Oh, right, and they have Reach Idiots. Yeah, we're probably just dead here. They have mana to activate this. I'm just gonna go to the post-board game. Elves is one of the many decks in this format that has incredibly polarized matchups. It's very good. In fact, Elves is one of the other, like, when I talk about mid-range decks being bad in this format, I'm not just talking about you're bad against things like Control. You're also not great against things like Elves. So Elves, for people that aren't familiar with Historic, Elves is a deck that's existed in Historic for a long while now around the fridges. I'm going to keep some discard spells. We're going to bring in my sweepers. We're going to bring in some spot removal. We're going to hope for the best. We're going to hope our aerial creatures here can kill them while we pick apart their decent ones. I mean, yeah, and there's, like, also people that make, like, way less than 80K, right, Cenotaph? Like, there's a majority of people that stream on Twitch don't make any money. They're just, like, doing it for fun. Well, I guess. Seems like pretty mediocre because it doesn't have white mana, but... Is Ritual of Soot feasible in the sideboard in Historic? Well, yeah, but, like, my deck has a bunch of creatures in it, right? So it's like, I'm playing Crippling Fear because that can not kill my creatures on occasion. So, like, yeah, in general, decks full of sweepers tend to be good against Elves. That's the polarization aspect. So like decks like the Lightning Helix decks, the good decks in this format dump on Elves, typically speaking. Especially with the addition of what's it called in the format? The combo deck that gives you protection from creatures. How would I rate Twitch as a platform? Twitch competitors will never be successful so long as Twitch Prime exists and there isn't a competing platform which incidentally gives you passive income. To give you context, I average somewhere between 1,500 and 2,500 Twitch subscribers in a month, depending on the current month. There's a lot of fluctuation there. And upwards of, gosh, I'd say 40 to 60% of my subs in a given month are Twitch Prime subs. And sure, some amount of those Twitch Prime subs would paid sub if they didn't have Twitch Prime, but a lot of them wouldn't. There's some small number that would, but most of them would not, I would wager. And I don't blame those people. I'm just pointing out that if you're streaming on a non-Twitch platform, you're making a mistake as a content producer because you're losing money, which is why the only people you see stream on Facebook gaming and YouTube gaming are people that have paid contracts from those companies to guaranteed income. Thanks for the 29 months, Mojo. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I think we just chill here this turn. Bob and Cheese. I would not have paid for this sub. Thanks for the 41 months. Yeah, and again, like, I have Crippling Fear as an out here, but like, we're likely just dead at this point. This type of matchup's really atrocious. Just historic for the rest of the day. I think Pauper was fun this morning. I'll probably do another Pauper deck to start. Oh wait, we have downtime tomorrow. Yeah, that'll probably be the only Pauper deck we do, because the midweek Magic ends on Thursday, right? It's not available on Friday. Well, we're gonna take 10 here. Amy was great. I'm glad you enjoyed it in Human Rabbit. That was not the untapped white source or the Crippling Fear I wanted for Christmas. For hate raids, is there anything a viewer can do to pressure Twitch? I mean, you can tag them on social media. But I don't know. Like I said, at this point, I think people frequently underestimate how long development time takes. And I would be incredibly surprised if Twitch is not already working on tools, but simply hasn't communicated. So the big thing is Twitch needs to communicate better, is the core. Like, to give you a pointed example, Twitch removed the ability for me to email my subscribers at the end of May. And when I asked my Twitch rep at the end of May when that would be coming back, I was told 1 to 2 months. It's now September 1st, and I've been told sometime Q4 it should be happening. So, you know, we went from 1 to 2 months at the end of May to now Q4 for just a feature that they already had that they need to now make changes to for some reason. Mickle Daddy, NSA Field Agent, and Lycos, thanks for the follows. Yeah, I don't expect them to really implement features faster because that's very difficult in a large company, but the communication is what they could be doing better. They could be like saying, these are the things we have planned or want to try. These are potential timelines for them. We're sorry we're not doing this faster, but, you know, it is. We're glacial, like. Thanks for the follow, Big Dad Getty. It is September 1st. Listen, August just like disappeared because my kids started school again. So I should put together another survey and send it out. That's a good. I'm gonna write a note. I'll get one of those together and send it out tonight. Usually I do those at the start of the month. Sub survey. Catch you later, Plaid. Well, we get to take their threat here, and then hope they don't peel another one. How is school going so far? I would say we're exceeding expectations so far. So my children's school has a little over 600 people that attend it. And after 2 weeks, they've had 38 total people on quarantine due to COVID cases and possible exposure. Which, if I'm being honest, is less than I'd expect. And they're communicating that clearly to parents, what's going on via their dashboard stuff. And they are requiring masks and things like that, so. So, I just like draw step resto this, right? Just like take their Lyras. I think the government should mandate citizens get vaccinated. I think the government should do its best to ensure COVID doesn't spread. which, while I'm not sure, even someone who's super pro-vax like me, I don't know that I would like to see a full mandate, but I think for people that choose not to get vaccinated, they should be required to provide negative tests multiple times per week at a minimum. I think if you make life inconvenient for people choosing not to do the right thing, they will choose to do the right thing because they don't want to be inconvenienced. Hey, thanks for the Prime dedicated Ox. Here's to 1 year of taking money from Bezos 350 at a time. God bless. I don't even know if that position is inherently American so much as it's just human. A lot of people don't care enough to do the right thing unless doing the wrong thing inconveniences them. Humans in general tend to be lazy and choose the path of least resistance. UTP Wolf, thanks for the Prime. Appreciate you hooking up those Bezo bucks. Wouldn't be able to be here without folks like you. That is true. That is true. Many cultures are more into rule following than Americans. I'd agree with that. So, I think with Lyra's costing 5 here, we just want to try and pressure them out of the game with this creature land dropping especially, so we'll just like Skyclave this and crack them for 5. Then we get to draw an extra card next turn and we have this here. I actually think this matchup is one of the things that makes our deck pretty reasonable. We have a lot of good removal here, especially post-board when we gain Vanishing Verses on top of Skyclave. And this is a matchup where Restoration Angel helps a bit too, because she blinking this to give us more virtual copies of it is pretty strong. Fatal Push seems decent here. I don't know that I want Cast Down Doomblade, because neither of these hit Lyris. Discard spells are definitely decent. Spellbinder's probably a little on the slow side. Actually, maybe Knight of the Ebon Legion. It doesn't really attack in great to their stuff. I want to go to 2 of these, and we'll bring in one of this effect. Being able to kill or discard their first threat or 2 has a lot of value. Thanks for the follow, Akira Death. Hey, congrats, Inhuman. Never too late to learn something new. I wonder how black-white auras is in the current format. I have to make a point to play this deck tomorrow. It's probably pretty okay into the Jeskai deck. You get to play discard spells. Discard spells plus reasonable clock. So my first thing's gonna get its Legion ended, but I definitely want to take the Core Spirit Dancer here. It's better against you. So yeah, that's a good question. Like, are the discard spells better than just having I think I'd rather this die than Glint-Sleeve, so I'm gonna lead on this. Are the discard spells better than counter spells? Could be a question. I'm sure you could build things to have just a good Jeskai matchup, but the problem is, like, you know, Jeskai's only like 10 to 15% of the format. Like, I think, for example, untap's great. pull up some untapped data here. Gotta do my toggles. So like, for example, let's assume you thought you were 90%. That's a good Thoughtseize bug. Let's assume you thought you were 90% against Jeskai. Jeskai's still only, 17% of the format here, based on the games that are played today in Historic Best of 3. Almost has a nice win rate too. The old most popular deck also has the highest win rate. This, for the record, this is the #1 sign a deck is likely a problem. When the most popular deck simultaneously has the best win rate, that's the #1 sign that it's likely a problem. Let's get rid of that one. Discard spell. Discard spell. Sedge. Oh, chat. Restoration Angel, blinking Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, triggers Revolt. Oh man, that's gas. Sedge. Big Sedge. Big Sedge. It also gets this energy and lets us draw a card next turn, but I wanted to draw the discard spell opponent. You weren't supposed to draw the discard spell. Maybe they'll miss it. Maybe they'll take the Doomblade and not realize the Fatal Push. Maybe they'll miss the line. Our hand's pretty good either way. I'm excited to draw 2 lands next turn. And the real problem here is now they get to put Ghost Form on the Lyris. So the Lyris is now, like, unkillable, essentially. So I, like, have to draw running removal spells. Hey, Titan, thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back. Yeah. Yikes. All right, we got some evasive dorks. I don't know. I think people are underestimating how important the lose 2 life aspect of that card will be. Why in fact did Lyris need lifelink? Therein lies an excellent question. Who thought that one through? Or didn't? I'm gonna chump block with the dragon. Yeah, they're going to 13 here, so I can't race. Just want to keep my life total high so I can hopefully draw some cards. Alright. We heading to game 3? Yeah, these are just like, just bouncing with that. That Inquisition they drew off the top that turn was so brutal. Yeah, remember when you just played Lyris for 3 mana? Watsi was confused when they designed Lyris. They thought they were still working on Eldraine. I don't know if this is good enough. I guess they're also a discard spell deck, so I don't really want to mulligan look too low. I agree, Danny. That's the best. The best part about playing Standard 22 is just like no companions. It's not close. This is, you know, you can't really mulligan aggressively in these matchups because you mulligan to a better hand, they'll just take the card that was good. Yeah, we don't pull punches around here, Bryn. Well, that was a good draw. I preferred it in the opener, but we'll take where we can get it, I suppose. So they have 2 of these, so I guess I'm supposed to take Deadweight so my Siphoner can maybe live. Feels bad man either way. What's going on, Darkstorm? Thanks for up in that prime. I appreciate it. Welcome back. I mean, to be fair, if you are too openly negative, Wizards doesn't really pay people, but if you're too openly negative or critical, you don't get free stuff. So like, I don't get those lovely like every set care packages they send out to a lot of content creators because I'm on Wizards shit list. That's okay. I'll survive without free commander decks and candy apples. Prismatic Ending. I'm really glad that card's not legal in this format. Like, could you imagine the Jeskai decks if they had Prismatic Ending? Good God. Please, please no. Please no. That was a good one to leave out. Merfolk. Alright, so I think we're supposed to take Silvergill up tier. Could be Collected Company too, but they're a little bit light on lands. This maybe means they stumble. I also have Spellbinder here to nudge the company later, which is nice. I'm surprised he didn't attack. I definitely wasn't trading. Huh? I think I take the Coco here. All of their cards threaten card advantage. It's a little scary. I think I am going to go ahead and trade here. Because if they get too many fish, this becomes indestructible. Yeah, it came back up yesterday, Cenotaph. Pump this up, push some damage. I think we shock and play Thalia as a blocker here. It also pushes their Collected Company up to 7 mana, which is nice. I did, Seth. Collected Company's just so good, though. I can't imagine not playing it. So they drew Coco. Good beats. Thanks for the follow, Firefox. They drew oh, they just targeted the wrong thing. So they drew a 1 mana for Rogue. So this is just straight up indestructible, so can't really do anything about that. Smallpox. Smallpox probably isn't playable. Put this Collected Company counter spell over here. Thanks for the tool. I don't think I'd enjoy a format where Smallpox is a strong strategy. Yeah, I agree with you. Well, it's one of those things that's just like kind of poopy. When it's good, big agree. Alright, so we're trimming our discard spells and our other anti-control cards here. I think I want some Lyra at the top end. I think again this is a matchup where I want to fly over. While the board's a little bit gummed up on the bottom. Do I want Gonti? Gonti or a Thoughtseize? I think Gonti's probably better. Honestly, Gonti might be better than... Nah, the flying's probably good. Let's try this. Another matchup where Crippling Fear looks great. This is fine. I'd like a turn 2 play. We've got our removal spell to start at least. Nice. Can name human to keep this, and then these are bigger than Crippling Fear here too. Now, I am going to go ahead and kill this. It just saves me some damages. Shoreline Scout is very sweet. If you haven't seen us play Merfolk on stream, you should definitely check out the YouTube video. It's also up on my website. They're a very reasonable tribe overall. Well... Notable that Crippling Fear does miss this one. I think we might be dead, fam. Need to hit the land there. Just draws a card every time it attacks. I'm gonna run no blocks here, because if we draw an untapped land, I want to be able to double block to kill this. I guess. I think I'm taking Silver Guild because that's their card advantage. Getting memory lapse 3 times is going to suck, but that's what it is. At least we have 4 lands lined up. Alright. This is actually really good draws, because it means while I sit here and draw Spellbinder 3 turns in a row, I'm going to hit my land drops to cast Lyra. Yeah, I think hoping that they just never draw a Merfolk and their Merfolk deck is loose, and I'd rather just take the card advantage. Like, they're going to draw a Merfolk at some point. It's going to happen eventually. Double Lyra here, looking awkward. Obviously worse than having a Baneslayer Angel would be with one of these. Maybe I should split them. I don't know. The upside of having Lyra with Resto is just so high. Yeah. Really wasn't a whole lot we could do this game. We had exactly one relevant decision. It was, what do I take with Inquisition? And then we just got memory lapse into the ground, right? For the follow, Jose. I mean, we're not dead, but like, this card's like really good. Just draws a card every time they do it. Would we not attack for 5 and blink the Lyra to get it back? This can't blink Angels. If they have nothing, we have really good blocks. Alright, we're gonna play something else. I don't know. Midrange. My wrap up on this is just like everything else. Midrange decks in this format just continue to feel like crap every time we play them. Yeah. I don't know. I wish they were better. I want to keep trying to think of other Restoration Angel decks that we could play, because I would really like to cast this card in something, but the kind of like mid-rangey creature deck that this wants to go into. Just really, the format's just so hostile to it. Like, building your deck with cards like these so you can be competitive against the Jeskai decks just means that you get stuffed in a box against these creature decks. Yeah. Yeah, I don't, you know. And then there's, you know, Memory Lapse and Mixed Small and all that jazz. All right.